Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I'm going to go over a story, and I believe it is a very sobering warning right now. As I've been talking about going into this fall, I believe we're coming into a deeper crash, right? None of this is financial advice. You shouldn't be like diving into certain investments because I think we're going to stock market crash. I'm not the all-knowing guru, right? But I've seen this before 2 times, and one of the big indicators that something is wrong is all of your financial professionals, ones you're allowed to in this world, like take financial advice, even if it's totally wrong, right? They are always consistently wrong. And it shows. We're seeing more and more stories of those numbers. We expect this number and it's worse. It's either lower, or we expect this number, it's higher, but it's even worse. It's even higher than that when we're talking about inflation, right? The facts are the pros are even wrong. All right. And as we see that get more and more, then you're getting closer to collapse, right? Because if the so-called gurus, the ones that went to school, and it's sad to say that are usually so young, they've never been investors in a market when it crashed last time, so they don't have those mental slides in their head that things are bad and things are going to get worse. Then what happens is it falls all at once, right? It seems like it falls all at once. What's happening is it goes lower, 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 lower until all of the masses then go, oh crap, get our money out of the banks, get out of Dodge, right? And I do believe that this collapse, this crash in the economy, because it is a 100-year cycle that we're hitting, is going to be bad to where you're going to have to be concerned where your money is in what bank and things like that. So I always talk about diversification, even in your banks. Go have lots of bank accounts with money spread all over the place. And the reason why is, everything from big banks that you need to do business with, because you just can't get away from that right now in this day and age, but also small regional banks and then credit unions, right? But that's not, we're not going to be talking about banking right now. We're going to be specifically talking about the services sector in the US, okay? And it just collapsed in August. And the US composite is now weaker than Europe. All right. Now, I've told you, Europe is a basket case. Europe is collapsing. And I believe that when it goes into full-blown collapse mode, we've only got about 2 weeks to a month before we see the collapse in our economy, because what will happen is Europe will drag us down because our economies are so tied in. All right. They're so tied, especially in the dollar euro swap zone. And that's a very complicated scenario. What happens with the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, and other entities, banking institutions that do these swaps. Not Bank of England, I apologize. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you do. Where they do these dollar swaps, they could hide a lot of what they do on their balance sheet. But I believe that we're going to get drugged down with Europe, okay? Now it says, after the ugliness in Euro area PMIs, August flash PMIs were for the US were expected to be mixed with services improving and manufacturing slowing. All right, because services should be picking up because we're getting out of this situation, this illness, right? And services should be picking up if people start getting out, getting around, moving again, spending money. All right, but they said that manufacturing, they were expecting it slow. They were half right. U.S. services PMI collapsed in early August from 47.3 to 44.1. And that's well below the expected jump to 49.8. Now, this is what we're explaining here, the very basic stuff, right? Because you'd be like, what are all these terms, these percentages, right? Why does it matter to me? Okay, let's look at the very basic level. When the pros are consistently wrong, the pros are idiots. I'm going to be honest with you. We've been trained to think that you have to put your money on deposit with these pros when all they do is they buy and sell assets and they give you a pittance of it. But as long as your pittance of it, because they keep a lot of it in fees, right, is more than the next company, they're going to stay in business, right? But when they're consistently wrong, these pros, these analysts out here, you got issues. Now, this situation right here with the PMI collapsing in early August from 47.3 to 44.1, and they expected it to actually jump to 49.8, really brings me back to the first GDP print, gross domestic product, back in the spring, when they were expecting a positive number and it actually went negative, right? That was a massive surprise. And then they've continually been consistently wrong to the point where we're just going to change the definition. All right. That should have woken people up right there and went, oh crap, we are in very serious trouble. We're not really in recession. Let's hold off. Yeah, we know the definition is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, but you know what? Let's go with third. And that third is going to be negative. I don't care what people think. It's going to be negative, right? Do you feel like the economy is strong right now? Right. We're going to get to what people could do, not should do, because this isn't financial advice, right? Because I'm not a professional that's consistently wrong. All right, so I'm a layman that's been right a few times. Says U.S. manufacturing also slowed more than expected from 52.2 to 51.3. And you might not think that's not much, Ninja. That's like a percent, a little over percent. But it's below the 51.8% expectations. So you see the pros expected it to drop, but it actually dropped worse. Now, how does this affect you? All right, we're going to put this down. I'm not going to read any more about this in this story, but I'd love for you to pick it up. I'll have it linked below. I always want to bring you the information that I'm reading, right? So you can check up on me. All right, let's explain this very, very basic level. U.S. manufacturing is slowing, even though it might not seem like a lot, but the pros are wrong about it. They think it's going to slow this much. It actually slows this much. Every time that number lowers, there are fewer and fewer people needed to work, right? Because there's less economic activity going on, right? And that is steadily declining. Well, what happens is as that number steadily declines and more people get laid off, or automation takes over and there's fewer jobs needed are out there, it actually snowballs. It is that snowball on the top of the hill, and as it's small and it starts rolling, it starts picking up snow, and it does two things. As it's picking up snow, it actually gets larger, the problem gets larger, and then it starts to spin faster because of its weight, all right? Until it's going all the way down the hill, and then it smashes into nothing. And that is exactly the scenario that's happening with the economy, all right? It is a snowball getting bigger, and it's getting heavier, and it's moving faster until the day where everybody runs for the exits, and that's the day the snowball smashes, all right? And there's good news. This isn't an end of the world scenario. Economies do this, but this snowball on its cycle, 100-year cycle, is a massive one. And coming into September, you're going to see very important key dates that all throughout history you could actually set your watch to with economics crashes. And it's called the Shemitah and Jubilee dates. And if you don't know them, look them up. And it's actually amazing that you could almost set your watch to when a recession is going to happen or when a big crash is going to happen by using those dates. And there's, regardless of what you believe, there's no stopping the truth. You know what I mean? You could believe a bunch of stuff. You could, crap in one hand and hope in the other and find out which one fills up first. There's a lot of people that are, you're doom and gloom. Like, well, you're an idiot. I mean, it's just a fact. It's like you arguing that the sky is blue, right? Well, it's subjective. I'm like, all right, cool. We're seeing a lot of subjectiveness out in the markets. And this is one great example where you have a bunch of professionals that have become professionals because academia is, so upheld, and we go, the academics are constantly or consistently wrong. It's an interesting world we live in where in this world, we have people that go to college, they go get their doctorate, their master's doctorate, and in finance, and most of them are so in debt up to their eyeballs, they couldn't even balance their own checkbook. And you've got to watch that. See, this next crash cycle is where it's going to separate the wise from the foolish. And wisdom doesn't mean your degree. Wisdom does not mean your level in society, okay? And so I want to talk about what people could do, okay? Look, since 2020, January 2020, if you would have bought an ounce of gold, it has outperformed just about every asset class out there. Just about every asset class out there, except for, I want to say, certain cryptos, Bitcoin. I don't have a chart in front of me, right? I'm going off my memory. It has beat the averages of all the stock markets, all right? January 2020. Let me know in the comment section, guys. You check my work, guys. I'm going off of memory. There are people that have bought food, right? Back then that started storing up food, preparing. That the cost of food has gone up more than just about any asset class out there. And it's true. And it's just that balanced approach that people need to have. I need to have enough food to feed me for 6 months, probably a year actually at this point, because we're going to see not only with the droughts, we're going to see economic shifts, supply chain collapses where you may not get the food you want in a timely fashion or be able to get it at the price that you can afford, right? So having that balanced approach, like I've got food storage and being smart about it. I heard some comment from a guy who's like, I went and bought a bunch of beans and put them in little Ziploc bags, as you said, now I'm only eating beans. I'm like, well, you're an idiot. I didn't tell you to do that. Who does that crap? You know, I mean, you got to be balanced and smart about this. You've got to sit there and go, right now there's a dude with a bag of beans going, I didn't say that. But I mean, you guys get the point. Now, be balanced, right? Have money in savings and yeah, have investments, but have them balanced. Be prepared for an opportunity to come, right? This is just smart thinking. It's like the water filters. I did a video about water filters and the water filters that I absolutely love, right? And a bunch of people. And thank you so much for using my affiliate link because it really helped the channel. Helped me, you know, not have to go pick up an overtime shift, but I can make videos, right? And I thank you for that. But there's so many people email me and go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm like, right? I'm like, I love this. I sought this company out. But now they're sold out in some of their products, right? And I'm not saying it's, you know, I have to race down there and go get more because they're not going to be around tomorrow. But there is points when, you know, when nobody could find lumber. Remember those days? And lumber prices were sky high. You can go into any Home Depot store now and go buy lumber, and the prices have come down, right? Matter of fact, I think you're going to see prices of lumber completely collapse because the narrative of real estate. So just be balanced. I just want people that are balanced because when you're balanced, you have a clear mind. And I go through cycles when I'm not clearly balanced and I don't have a clear mind. And I have to bring myself back to normality. And actually, that's what Mrs. Ninja is really good at. You know, knocking me upside the head and going, what are you thinking, knucklehead? You know, we're all in this together, but I want all of us, our team, Ninja Nation, to thrive. I want you guys to absolutely crush it. My greatest legacy that I want to leave for my family and for the world is preparing people to not only survive, but to thrive and live the life you've always wanted, and then being able to give back in a way. And that I think would be amazing. So guys, I'm going to link this story below. I thank you so much for your support. I absolutely am so grateful to all of you. I love meeting you on the street. I love meeting you on airplanes and the airports. I absolutely love meeting you guys. You are the greatest human beings on earth. Why? Because you think outside of the box and you're not listening to all those dodo birds out there. All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.